In this section, we'll look at different situations, such as strategies for a person living alone, physical activity, hypoglycemia while driving, and alcohol consumption. If you live alone, you could ask a friend or family member to call you every day at the same time of the day. If you're unable to answer the call, it means something is wrong. You could also set a signal with a neighbor, such as turning on the same light at the same time every day. If you're unable to do the signal, it means something has happened. The PAIR program is available in several municipalities. This is an automated service. If the registrant is unable to answer the call after a certain number of tries, help will be sent. And finally, there are remote monitoring services available that are linked to a button on a pendant or watch. This next situation is for physical activity. In general, exercise has a hypoglycemic effect, especially for people using insulin or an insulin secretagogue. The hypoglycemic effect could last up to 24 hours after moderate or sustained physical activity. To prevent hypoglycemia while exercising, measure your blood glucose levels before, during, and after physical activity, especially when starting a new exercise routine or changing the intensity or duration of your workout. Avoid physical activity at the time of your insulin's peak action. Inject insulin into a part of the body that's not being worked by the exercise. For example, inject into the arm if cycling, or inject into the leg if doing push-ups. And avoid consuming alcohol before, during, and a few hours after physical activity. If hypoglycemia occurs during physical activity, stop the activity and treat yourself without delay. Resume the activity only when your blood glucose levels have risen above 4 millimole per liter. Then measure your blood glucose levels periodically during your workout to prevent another hypoglycemic episode. This next situation is very serious. Here we'll focus on hypoglycemia while driving. Measure your blood glucose levels before taking the wheel, and then every 4 hours for long trips. Avoid driving if your blood glucose levels are below 5 millimole per liter. If your blood sugar is between 4 and 5 millimole per liter, treat it as if it's a hypoglycemia before taking the wheel. Keep non-perishable snacks in the vehicle, such as cereal bars, dried fruits, nuts, and crackers. And keep fast-acting carbohydrates on hand in the vehicle. When driving, if hypoglycemia occurs, stop the vehicle the moment that you feel the symptoms of hypoglycemia. Measure your blood glucose levels. If they're below 4 millimole per liter, treat the hypoglycemia and do not drive. Resume driving only 45 to 60 minutes after your blood glucose levels have returned to normal, and then have a snack every 2 hours. It's important to know the effect of alcohol on your blood glucose levels. The liver treats alcohol as a toxic substance. Therefore, the liver gives priority to metabolizing this substance. During this time, the liver is unable to release its stores of glycogen or to make new glucose through gluconeogenesis to stabilize blood sugars. The more alcohol consumed, the longer it takes to metabolize it. A person with diabetes must rely on their intake of carbohydrates through food to stabilize their blood sugars during this time. The risky periods are when a person is fasting for a long period of time, such as during sleep. A delayed hypoglycemic effect can occur up to 24 hours after alcohol consumption. Consuming alcohol could also make a person unaware of the symptoms of hypoglycemia. If drinking alcohol, drink with food to prevent hypoglycemia. Only drink alcohol if your blood glucose levels, your blood pressure, and your triglycerides are properly controlled. And measure your blood glucose levels more often. Drinking copious amounts of alcohol with a large meal can cause hyperglycemia, followed by a drop in your blood glucose levels. If you choose to drink alcohol before a meal, have a snack containing carbohydrates. And if you drink alcohol at supper time or in the evening, measure your blood glucose levels at bedtime and have a snack containing carbohydrates and protein. To finish, let's highlight a few precautions. Keep fast-acting carbohydrates and snacks on hand. Learn to recognize the symptoms of hypoglycemia and know how to treat it. Inform those around you about the symptoms, the technique to measure blood glucose levels, and the treatments, including glucagon. Measure your blood glucose levels more often during risky situations. These include at the time of your insulin's peak action, before driving, before exercising, when beginning a new exercise routine or when changing the duration or intensity of your workout, when starting a new anti-hyperglycemic medication that has a risk of hypoglycemia, and when the symptoms of hypoglycemia are present. Always have your blood glucose monitor with you. If hypoglycemia occurs, take note of it in a booklet including the time and context to be able to figure out what triggers it. Avoid drinking alcohol on an empty stomach. Use your anti-hyperglycemic medications and insulin as prescribed. Follow your meal plan without omitting anything, and wear identification that mentions that you have diabetes. Hypoglycemia is a reality for the majority of people with diabetes. You could do everything you can to prevent it, but you must be prepared to treat hypoglycemia, and you must be prepared before it happens. Also, and this is very important, you need to talk about it with those around you. Not only your immediate family, but also your friends and work colleagues should be able to recognize the symptoms of hypoglycemia and know how to treat it. Because if a severe hypoglycemic episode does occur, they will be the ones that need to help you. This course has been made possible with the financial support of Rush Diabetes Care, a division of Hoffmann La Roche Limited.